We first saw the Lian Li O11 Dynamic Mini V2 back at Computex 2025 and were mighty impressed by it. However, it's only when you actually get the review sample, you get to play around with it at your own time, that you really get to see all of the small, awesome details that you don't get to see at a trade show, as well as some of the more confusing things. But we'll get to that a bit later. First off, there's something big that needs clarification. Despite the case having Mini right there in the name, and despite its small size, it does actually support ATX motherboards. It's not only restricted to MADX or even smaller, as the name would kind of imply. And of course, one of the big things about small cases is that they're usually a lot more difficult to work with. However, the thing is that pretty much everything you see here can be taken off. Most of it without even a screwdriver, with almost everything of importance using thumb screws. Apart from the PC brackets, those just use screws, which is a shame, but whatever. In fact, here's how much you can strip the case down by just undoing thumb screws, and you can take off even more if you need more access by grabbing your trusty screwdriver and undoing even more. And some parts, like the rear side panel here, that doesn't even use thumb screws, you just take it straight off. Now, taking a deeper look inside, you see that includes a GPU anti-sag bracket, plenty of holes for routing your cables, including for a BTF motherboard, as well as space for a total of 9 fans. In total, supporting 3 120s or 4 140s at the top, 2 120s at the side, 3 120s at the bottom, and 1 120 at the back. And while it will be kind of tight for water cooling, it is very much possible, with support for up to a 360mm radiator at the top and a 240 on the side, with no official way of mounting one on this bottom row of fans. Speaking of, as you can see, it does include 5 fans already, and while I'd love to tell you more about them, like for example the name or literally anything else, I literally don't know what they even are. Like, they're not referred to by name on Lian Li's website or anything, simply just being called reverse blade PWM fans, and they don't even appear anywhere on Lian Li's website, which means that if you want to get more of these to put in all of the remaining slots and have basically just one single fan design across the whole case so it all looks nice and tidy, well, you can't do that. Looking at the back of the fans to get some more information, we can see that they do have a maximum RPM of 1700, so that's something at least. So while they will very much do the job, it's kind of disappointing because of how generic they are, and you can't even apparently buy more just to complete the look. And they don't even come with any kind of fan hub, which a lot of cases do nowadays, though thankfully they are daisy chained together, so you basically just have 2 PWM connectors to actually run to your motherboard, with connectors hanging loose for you to connect even more fans in the future. And people will probably argue the merits of both systems in the comments, so you tell me, what do you prefer? Having a hub, which will always cost a bit more, or just having daisy chain fans? Anyway, one thing you may have also noticed is that the bottom fans are at a bit of an angle. That is one of the big selling points of the V2 when compared to the original, and it's of course meant to drive even more air to the most hot part of your system, the graphics card. It also gives the system a bit of a unique look, but then you get to the back and you see that it results in this very weird gap that looks more like you just put the wrong measurements in a CNC machine, but you decide just to go with it anyway. I wish the weird gap at the bottom had a bit of a nicer finish to it, but again, I understand that it's at the back of the case, so you won't even see it anyway. It's also the point at which you pull out the included filter for those bottom fans. Same with this kind of flimsy and cheap feeling plastic filler piece that you place underneath the rear I/O. Again, maybe it doesn't look the best, but also you won't be seeing it because it's at the back. Looking into the accessories box, here it's nothing too special. You get a bracket for vertically mounting your graphics card, a little box of screws and other little bits and bobs, as well as the rest of the GPU anti-sag bracket. Only real complaint here is the fact that it includes cable ties, just the boring plastic single-use ones, rather than the Velcro ones already included and attached inside the case. But you also might be asking yourself, well, where does the PSU go if not at the bottom there? Well, it goes here instead, almost on the same level as the motherboard, in the rat's nest cable management chamber behind the main system. And don't worry, they did remember to put some mesh on that side panel so the power supply doesn't cook itself there. Now, taking a closer look at the rest of that other compartment, here you also have 2 rather finicky drive cages for either 3.5 inch or 2.5 inch drives, but no 5.25 inch base here. This central pillar where you can attach 2 more 2.5 inch drives, as well as all the cables you need to connect the fans, as well as the front I/O, which by default is at the bottom of the front panel of the case. And yeah, okay, I should probably qualify that by default bit, because you can actually customize where your front I/O goes. It can either go at the very front or also at the top. As you can see right here, if we just undo this single part of the case, there is this right here where you can put the front IO instead, and it's a pretty easy thing to actually do. The problem is that you're only going to do it once, keep it, and then you're left with this very weird filler piece where the front IO isn't, and it just kind of feels like a wasted bit of space. That's going to really stand out by the fact that it's, well, literally just a bit of the case cut out there. And I wish that there was something else you could put there in its place, like, I don't know, 5¼ inch bay? Just an idea, Lian Li. And I will continue to complain about it until case manufacturers start putting them back in. Speaking of complaining about case manufacturers though, let's talk about the front IO. We get 2 USB 3 Type A ports, 1 USB 3.2 Type C port, 1 combo audio jack, as well as a power button, and yet again, no hardware reset button. Again, why? What is this trend? Why is every single case manufacturer doing it now? Just give me a reset button. It's not that hard, and I have no idea what kind of justification they have for not including it. Like, do people not use them anymore and I just never got the memo or something? But at the same time, not having a reset button isn't going to be a make or break situation for most people when it comes to this case. What is usually the make or break is the price. And here it's actually rather reasonable at $90 for the fanless version or $100 for the one with included fans. And while you might think to yourself, wow, $10 for 5 fans? That's a steal. And true, yeah, but you also have to keep in mind what kind of fans we're dealing with here, and the fact you can't even buy more of these, so you can have 3 or 2 larger 140mm ones at the top, and an additional one at the back as an exhaust. So I would very much consider if these are the fans you want to be stuck with for that build. But regardless of if you go for the fan or fanless one, it is still a pretty fun case to build in, with a few nifty ideas and only a few mild annoyances. And I didn't even mention some of the other really cool and weird stuff yet. Like for example, how it just straight up has a hole to the outside, so you can literally run external cables to your motherboard, or also run, I don't know, one of those ancient water cooling systems that went outside your PC. So there's definitely quite a few interesting things about this case that will make your life building in it much easier, and also you probably won't be limited in it as much as you think given their size. So I mean, if you really like this aesthetic and you're not tired of this particular brand of fish tank style cases just yet, you can very much give it a go. You have my permission, but only if you use our Amazon and Newegg links, which will be down in the video description below, where you're also going to find a Patreon, because even a single $1 a month truly goes a long way. Plus, huge thanks to Gavin Burns, Justin Rage, Ella Vronyak, Balash Voka, Nola Pseudonym, Meg Sumner, and Shane Allcroft. But anyway, that's about it, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then remember to subscribe, like, whatever, and I'll see you all in whatever I make next. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.